Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Just going to do a little overview on the Jeep project here. I've got a 1999 Jeep Wrangler, and we have put in, or I have put in the LS 5.3 engine into it. I didn't do a whole lot of videoing on it because I didn't really know what I was doing, so day by day, and it pretty much took me all winter just to do it by myself and take my time, but I've learned quite a bit, and I think I've done a decent job at it. I think everything should be right. Haven't done a startup yet, but we're real close. I've just got to get a couple of things buttoned up. I've got the exhaust collectors that I have to finish. I ordered those, and I got to get the oxygen sensor mounted into them, and then a couple of little bitty things. But other than that, it's completely finished. As far as getting it ready for a test fire, I still have to get exhaust and drive shafts, but those are the two big, more expensive things that I have left to get. So as long as everything else goes good, then we should be pretty close. I'll give you guys a little bit of a view here. There's the new engine. I did remove the harness and most of the Jeep wiring except for the main wiring. You can see the main harness is still here coming out, and then you still have your harness for your lights and stuff. Obviously leave those in. And then ran the main harness all the way across. Now there is some Holley Terminator wires. I am using the Holley Terminator X Max kit for the computer. I'm not using the GM stuff. So I just got rid of pretty much all the GM wiring is gone. I did steal a couple things like this battery box and the starter wire from the starter. I did steal that off the harness and run it to the starter. And then got it wired into the Jeep plug up here in the center there. It's tied into that, which is where the original wire comes from the key on the ignition switch of the Jeep. So all the wiring is pretty much done. It was pretty easy. I do have these two wires hanging off of the light here. These are for my fuel gauge. I'm not sure if I need one or if I need both of them yet, but those are pretty much the only wiring left. I've got one wire underneath to do, and then that's if everything is correct. So I did the entropy radiator with the built-in fan, and I've got my transmission hoses plumbed in here. The other one runs to the cooler for the transmission, which is mounted right here in the front. We're going to see how that works for now inside of here. So these wires don't mind those. That's just for my lights and stuff. I got to wire up the winch yet. It's just sitting there, but I want to get it running first, and then I'll worry about all that little stuff. So drilled my hole for my math sensor, or air. It's an air sensor of some sort. I think there's a couple different names for it. Got that drilled in there and put in. I used a cable off of Amazon for the throttle, because mine is drive-by cable and not drive-by wire. So you can see the cable there. The map sensor on top. I did change the oil pressure sensor. I went with the Holley sensor instead of the GM one. Since I was using the harness, the plug wouldn't fit, so I just went ahead and upgraded it to the Holley sensor. That was a little bit expensive, but probably be a better sensor, work better. So transmission, everything's all hooked up on the transmission besides the VSS wire, which is the one wire I've got to do here. It goes to the transfer case actually. And then this is my oxygen sensor wire. As soon as I get my collectors, I'll run that to the collector and put it in. That's the main reason I'm waiting on a first start, is because I want to get that oxygen sensor in there first. Maybe throw a pipe on throw a pipe on one side or the other just to make it a little bit longer. I don't know. I probably won't, but lots of wires coming to the battery. I just bought these top posts. This is a side post and a top post battery. So I went on Amazon and found these connectors, these terminals, and you can connect several different ones. It doesn't look the greatest. I may clean that up too once I get it running. I've got a few here. This one's for my amplifier and stuff, but relays for the fan on the radiator, the fuse and relay there. But I did still use the original Jeep fuse box, and that's how you get away with running your stock harness so that your gauges and your stuff inside will still work. Now I'm not using the stock gauges. I went with a Holly dash, so I didn't need that part of it. But this box will allow your fuel pump relay and all that kind of stuff to work, which I bypassed the fuel pump relay on mine and went into the green wire up there for the Holly because it has a relay for that. But my relay for my starter is in here and all that stuff, and your radio, all that stuff will still work. You just take this box, mount it back on here, run you a hot cable from here, and run it directly to the battery. It goes right around to here. You just basically here to here, and then it'll ground to the fender, obviously, so you don't have to ground it. And then you run your grounds and stuff. I ran my grounds. I've got one on the fender there, and then the other ground right there where that one goes in is my main ground for my engine too. And then I've got a ground up here behind the engine, and you can never have too many body grounds and chassis grounds and frame grounds, all that stuff grounded as much as you can, because it just makes everything work better. But we'll come around to the other side here. I'll show you the inside of the Jeep. We did do new shifters and a new center console. If you guys look on my previous videos, you'll see the console video. Not everything is finished in here. You can see the computer hanging out there, but I'll get that all buttoned up once I get it to first start. But this is the Generate center console. I've got my shifter and my LCD screen and my switches all mounted in there. It all goes in real easy. Cut a hole out for the shifter here. I've just got a shifter from online. I can't even think of the name of the shifter of the place for this one, but you can get those online. I can see if I can find a link for it or something. I cut out cup holders for it. They sell you the cup holders, but you don't get them installed. So this is the Holly dash. This is the 6.86 dash, and I really like that. That is super nice. That's where one of these or both of these gauges or wires will have to plug into the back of the harness on this screen, is what I've seen. So far, that's what I've seen. I just got to figure out which one. So, but I'm running the stock truck manifolds. I went and bought a new set because I actually got rid of mine thinking I was going to run headers. And the headers didn't fit like I wanted them to. I had too many issues with them. So I got rid of the headers and just went with the manifolds. You're going to have less trouble with exhaust manifold gaskets if you run this way, most likely. And everything clears pretty good with that too. You can see where it's going to go right down next to the frame. The steering shaft, I mean, there's a little tight in there, but everything goes right around it. I tried to zip tie my wires to where they wouldn't be messed up by it at all. And my fender will also be, you know, like right in here. So, and all this stuff will tie up to that. This is just laying there for right now, but that's kind of an overview of what's going on with the Jeep project. I've got the 4L60E transmission underneath. I don't know if you can see it under there or not, but I've got my stock skid plate is what I used with the 241C Chevy, the Chevrolet transfer case. Has the SYE kit in that. I got lucky and found one that already had the kit because you couldn't get the kits because everything's so much on back order. So I found one that was already done and bought it cheaper than I could have done it with anyway. So that's pretty much it. I mean, we're waiting on a first start just till I get the collectors, and I'm going to try and start it after that. All the fluids are topped off. The only thing that's not in there is antifreeze yet. I don't need that to start it. I'll make sure that nothing else leaks first and then kind of go from there. Top the transmission off and had a little bit of a spill on that because I overfilled it, but that was my fault. So, but yeah, it's getting close. I'm getting excited and ready to get this thing running and be able to drive it. Weather's starting to turn nice, so hopefully it won't be too long. Finally got her cleaned up pretty decent here. I think that'd be good enough. Don't have to be perfect. This gasket will set down in there like that and seal her up. It looks pretty decent. I think if I squash her good enough, it'll seal up. Got the other one here. Got the bolt put in here, the plug for this one. I think that's pretty decent. If it leaks, we can always tighten that up later. But, and then this one has the little, just has the little ring that sets in here. I'm not sure if these mating surfaces have to be super smooth or not. I don't think they do, because it's not going to quite touch. I mean, I could be wrong, but it's going to be real good, because this is going to smash down in there if this is the correct one. It looks like it. But we will get her together and see what happens. I still have to screw the oxygen sensor into this hole, which I think I'm going to take that off, unplug it, and go ahead and try to get it screwed in before I get the exhaust down in there. That'd be a little bit easier to do it up here on the workbench. So we'll see how that goes. All right, peoples. We got the exhaust in on both sides, just the flanges here. And you can see super close to the frame on this side. And we got our oxygen sensor up in there. Let me get you so you're not upside down here. Get some light up there. As you can see, that's actually pretty good. I like that a lot. I was a little bit worried that that was going to be way too close and hit the frame or something, but the O2 sensor is awesome. And it's on the upside, which is what they say to do, so there's no moisture can get into it. So we are good there. Don't mind all the transmission fluid leaking off. That was my fault. Overfilled it just a little bit and made a mess over here. So on the other side, we didn't get so lucky. This is the driver's side. Got our plug in there. Looks good on this side. It is on the frame. And I can't get I don't know if you can see it from this side. You can see there's a gap. So we didn't get so lucky there. That's definitely going to have to be messed with. Maybe taking, sorry, get the light here. May have to take and do some beating on the inside of the pipe here to where it'll come in, but that's going to be quite a bit. So we may end up having to take and have the exhaust shop cut the pipe off up here, and then they can weld a piece on, an angle on right away, and then take it away from the frame. That's probably what's going to happen. I didn't put a gasket in there yet because it's going to leak for sure. So I just wanted to get it in there and see if we can get a first start. So at least it's got a little bit of downpipe. It's not going to completely, you know, blow everything apart. So I don't really particularly like this cut here that they've got. There's a little bit of a lip on it, and then that's it. It's where the bend goes in, which is smaller than the actual size of the pipe. So I think we're better off cutting it off up here anyways, and then going from there, which the exhaust shop can do that way better than me. I probably wasted my money on this plug, but that's okay. We'll have them cut it off right there, weld a new piece of pipe onto it, and should be good to go on that. I don't see any problems with it. So let's get the computer and stuff done up here, get everything programmed, and see if we can possibly get a first start tonight. I'm excited. All right, guys, I just tested it. It fired off. We're gonna try it again. It runs. We get ready. So we got her running. She's a little choppy yet, but putting some antifreeze in her now, getting her. I'm not sure how you got to burp the system. I know you got to burp it a little bit and get all the air out. So I'm gonna read up on that before I top her off completely. It's just about full. I don't know if you can see in there or not, but it's pretty close. So she starts right up, man. I am super excited. Still got a little bit of wiring to do. I'm gonna run this pigtail here off of the gray harness there. These two, actually 3 wires, are going to be for my safety neutral switch on the transmission. So I'll have to wire those down and finish that up. But and then I've got 2 wires inside for my fuel gauge. I'm not sure if I need both of them or just one yet. Still working on that too, but that'll go into the dash. So, and then I'm gonna clean this wiring mess up on the battery just a little here somehow. Get some wire. I think I'm gonna buy some wire loom, and I'll put all this wiring into some wire loom. And I may even cut that green wire down, the fuel pump wire. I may cut it down and make it short because I don't need all that. And then there's some input wires there. I'm gonna hold off on those two still. So still tons of work to do on it, but it finally runs. I'm excited. See if I got any leaks. I don't have anything leaking yet. And I got to the top off the transmission still. I got to top off the rest of the antifreeze. Check the oil now that the filter's full. And just kind of finish up and button up little things. These wires here are all for the fenders and the turn signals. Once I put the fender back on, which I can probably do that before long too now. So, and then I got some work underneath to do. I gotta work on that belly pan, get the transmission mounts, the 2 bolts for it. I gotta do some grinding on the pan to make them work. That won't be too hard. And then measure for my drive shafts. I'm gonna have to call and order drive shafts, and I gotta load the Jeep on the trailer and haul it to the exhaust shop. I'm gonna get the exhaust done on it. So finally coming together. It's a little bit here and a little bit there, and finally we're getting there. I'm just super excited that it starts up and runs good. So we'll check the oil, and power steering works. I'll have to get used to that. It doesn't work as good as the Jeep power steering as of yet, but that could be just because it's idling rough too. So once we get the exhaust put on, that'll change the O2 sensor readings probably, and then I think it'll learn itself. For the most part, it'll learn itself how to do the mixtures and stuff. The Holley computer is supposed to do a lot of that stuff itself, and then take it in and have somebody tune it, and should be about done with it by then. So I appreciate everybody watching. This is the end of the video here, so hopefully we'll have some more content when I get some more parts and pick back up where we left off.